are going to second unit 2, psychophysics. This is the second unit. Mm, Already in this unit also, in previous class, we are discussing the concept of psychophysics. In that concept of psychophysics, two subtopics are there. Concept of absolute limits and differential limits. And second topic is psychophysical methods, and third topic is psychological scaling. And in that psychological scaling also, few subtopics are there: psychological scaling methods, Thurston equal appearing interval scale, Likert summative scale, and Gutman summative scales. These are this is the in this psychophysics syllabus topic syllabus. Now today we are going to in this psychophysics topic. Psycho introduction. Okay, sorry, children, for some of the interruption due to technical problems. So, already done the previous class in introduction of psychophysics. Now, today, discuss the concept of psychophysics. What is the concept of psychophysics? The word psychophysics was coined by the German scientist and philosopher Gustav Theodor Freischner. థియోడర్ ఫ్రెషనర్ అనేటువంటి ఫ్రెష్ ఫెంచర్ అనేటువంటి ఫ్రెషనర్ ఈజ్ ద కైండ్ బై ది psychophysics topic, the word of physics word. He was conducted several psychological experiments on animal and human being. The word psychophysics word coined by the Gustav Theodor Freischner. Freischner అనేటువంటి is the one of the person is the Germany, belongs to Germany. He was coined by psychophysics word. At the same time, he has conducted several psychological experiments on animals and human beings, and coined the word psychophysics. Psychophysics is a branch of psychology, the one of the branch of psychology that studies physical stimuli on sensory perception and mental states. That studies physical stimuli on sensory perception and mental states. An experiment on psychophysics concentrates on employing various stimuli and relating them to sensation. In psychophysics, through experimentation, the experimenter tries to find out whether the subject detect the stimulus, identify the stimulus or not, differentiate between the stimulus from stimulus, are able to describe the magnitude or nature of the difference. The psychophysics has widespread practical applications in human life. It has an immediate impact on psychology, sensory psychology, and other related fields because it provides a means to measure sensation which was considered as immersible. This is the concept of psychophysics. Once again, we will repeat it, this topic. The psychophysics word derived or coined or find out one of the German psychologists, Gustav Theodor French, in 1801 to 1887, in between time. He has conducted several psychological tests, experiments or tests on animals and human beings, and coined the word psychophysics. The psychophysics is the branch of one of the branch of psychology that studies physical stimuli on sensory perception and mental status. This is the psychophysics related concept. And in this psychophysics definition is also we will read once see it. Psychophysics, psychophysics is the quantitative investigation of relationship between physical stimuli sensation and physical stimuli sensation and perception. See, definition is that psychophysics is the quantitative investigation of the relationship between physical stimuli sensation and perception. It is considered as the scientific study of relationship between stimulus and sensation. It is the stimulus and response relationship or study of perceptual systems. Psychophysical experiments are mostly conducted on vision, hearing, touch, smelling, and tasting, etc. This is the definition of psychophysics. The psychophysics experiments mostly conducted on vision, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. In this, specially organs, sense organs. In these sense organs, the psychophysics experiments conducted on these especially sense organs. In this psychophysics experiments coined by the Gustav Theodor Fencher, and is the one of the Germany psychologists. He was kind in this psychophysics concept world. This is the definition. The quantitative investigation of the relation between physical stimuli, sensation, and perception. Example of psychophysical experiments. How strong does the stimulus have to be for a person to be able to perceive the stimulus? Do color impact our moods? Can different types of music lead different physiological response to action films? Cause people to eat more popcorn and candy during a movie? Can smelling on things while tasting another impact a person's ability to detect what the food real really is? This is the example of psychological psychological experiment. Next, another topic is concept of absolute alignment, difference alignment. The concept of absolute alignment means it is also known as absolute threshold, detection threshold, objective threshold, Lyman's sensation threshold, absolute sensitivity. It can be defined as minimum level of stimulation required for sense organs to detect the stimuli 50 percentage percent of the time. It is the smallest level of stimulus required by the human senses to detect sound, touch, sight, taste, smell, etc. It is considered as the weakest or lowest level of stimuli required to detect on 50% of trials. This is the concept of absolute alignment. The example of absolute alignment is the low level of light the the lowest level of tone the human ear can detect, the smallest concentration the participant can smell, the lowest amount of force required to detect the force of the plant. This is the example of concept absolute alignment. And second one is difference alignment. It is known as the difference threshold. Different threshold, it is the smallest change in the stimuli that a person can detect. It is the smallest change or smallest detectable sensation. It is also known as just a noticeable differences. This is noted as J&D. Suppose John hold two objects of different weight, just noticeable differences will be the minimum difference in the weight of two objects. John can sense half of the time. This is the difference alignment. Now we are going to another topic is psychophysical methods. Psychophysical methods are tools to measure perception and performances. It is the measurements of behavior to reveal the internal processes. It studied the transformation from physical to psychological through detection, identification, discrimination, and scaling. The level of strength of a stimulus that must reach to be detected is known as sensory threshold. For example, the amount of force required to detect the feeling of a feather, the transition from high school to the college, etc. In this is the psychological methods. In the psychological methods, there are three methods are divided of measurements in psychophysics. One is method of constant stimuli, and the second one is method of limits and method of adjustment. One by one, we will read it. First one, we read it. You know about the method of constant stimuli. It is the process of determining sensory threshold by randomly persisting the stimuli several times. Here, stimuli are presented which are above the thresh, threshold and below the threshold. It is easy to administer and provides a complete picture of sensitivity. But this method consumes a lot of time and trials. In this method, the threshold is calculated by the stimulus that is detected 50% of the time to that of stimulus not detected 50% of time. For example, if we want to find out the lowest amount of sound, the subject can detect the experiment can randomly present different tones at different sounds level in a constant stimuli methods of finding threshold. Second one is methods of limits. This method uses the ability of the subject to respond or not to respond to a particular stimulus, or at what level the stimuli are detected and perceived by the subject. In this method of finding the threshold, the stimuli are increased or decreased until the stimulus is perceived by the subject. For example, to find out the threshold for light, the subject will be exposed to a large amount of light and asked whether the cold see it. On the next trial, the amount of light will be decreased. This experiment will be repeated until the subject no longer sees the light. Now, third one is method of adjustment. This method is known as the method of average error or method of reproduction or equations equation method. An absolute threshold is find out by a series of trial through direct adjustment of the stimulus to find out the weakest stimuli detected by the subject. In this method, the experiment control or adjust the level of the stimulus at the perceptual threshold. The participant or the subject increases or decrease the level until they feel that the stimulus is the detectable level. And utility of psychophysical testing. And what is the what purpose we will utilize the psychological test means they are useful to measurement perception and performances and to reveal and understand the perceptual process and assessing the observers performance and to specify the required characteristics of display. Now, another topic is psychological scaling methods. The scaling techniques is a process of placing the respondents on continuum based on the order, description, distance, and origin, origin assigning values, symbols, and numbers features of the particular object as per the defined rules. For example, strong agree or strong or disagree, unfavorable or favorable. Psychological scaling refers to the process of qualifying the psychological aspects and event with special references to sensation and perceptions. It requires a theoretical basis of empirical operations to derive quantitative values. Scaling techniques is a method of placing respondent on a continuum with a assigned values, numbers, symbols based on the feature particular objects predetermined rules. The scaling method is a method of placing respondent on a continuum with pre-assigned values, numbers, symbols based on the features of the particular objects with predetermined rules. There are different types of scaling methods based on various criteria. However, mainly they are divided into primarily scaling techniques, other scaling techniques. These are the psychological methods used to locate the stimuli on a linear scale without assigning quantitative values to it. Measurements and scaling techniques helps us to explain the concept of scaling and measurement, especially in this scaling methods helps to us means what is the what purpose it is what is the uses of us means to explain the concept of scaling and measurements purpose. And level of measurements refers to the relationship between the values assigned to attributes values assigned to the attributes, feelings and opinions of variable. Now, Stevens has developed Stanley Smith Stevens has developed four types of scaling techniques. They are nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. These are four types of sampling techniques derived coined by Stanley Smith Stevenson. What is that nominal and ordinal and interval and ratio means? We are discussing again one by one. In these four scaling techniques are very useful to the scaling methods. Nominal used for non-quantitative variable. This is the non-quantitative variable. Non-quantitative variable. It is the measurement scale. It is the one kind of measurement scale in which numbers serve as tag or labels to identify or classify the object. To identify and classify the objects. It deals with the non-numeric variables where numbers have no values. This is a deal. In this nominal scale, it deals with the non-numerical variables where numbers have no value. This for example gender this gender differences male and female the next another one is ordinal scale. It is a measurement scale in which data is kept in order rank. The data is quantitative. This is ordinal scale. It is a measured scale in which data is kept in order wisely. Kept in order wisely. The data is quantitative. For example, rating happiness on 1 to 10 scale. Rating happiness on 1 to 10 scale. Now, third one is interval. Interval. It is a measurement scale where the data is arranged in order and the difference between two variables is meaningful. Here two variables are there and two variables is meaningful. For example, temperature in temperature in Celsius. Suppose we are doing our body temperature in Celsius low, or suppose we are measuring the same time that kind of two variables are same true absolutely valuable values. And the fourth one is a ratio scale. It is measurement scale in which it is quantitative in nature. It compares the interval of difference. For example, age 1.0 to 10 years, and the second one is 11 to 20 years. This is all. This is in these Four rating scales, scaling techniques are coined by Stanley Smith, Stevenson. And another one is psychological scaling method. Is psychological in scaling method also in social sciences. Scaling is the process of measuring or ordering entities with respect to quantitative attributes or traits. It provides a mechanism to measure abstract concept. There are different types of scaling techniques. They are one is comparative scaling and non-comparative scaling. In this psychological scaling methods, are two types. Two types. One is comparative and non-comparative. And in these comparative and non-comparative scalings provides a mechanism to measure abstract concept. And one by one we will discuss the comparative scales. Comparative, it is an ordinal or rank order scale, which is also referred as non-metric scale. In this scale, evaluate two or more objective at the same time and differently compare with one another in the process of measuring. It involves direct comparison of two stimulus objects. Do you prefer tea or coffee? For example, we will see, for example, one is, do you prefer coffee? Do you listen songs through MP3 or radio? Various techniques of comparative scale are pair comparison technique, rush model scaling, rank ordering, Bogart's social distance scaling, Gutman scale, and constant sum scale and magnitude estimate scale. These are the some identify the measuring the scale related testings. Advantages of comparative scale methods. A small difference between two stimulus object can be determined easily. It can be easily understand and easy to apply. Common reference point for all respondent. It reduce hollow effect. It impression. Hollow effect means impression of one area opinion affecting the other. And fourth one is very fewer assumptions. In this comparative scalings, disadvantages are there. Generalization is not possible as it compares fewer variables. The data is ordinal in nature, non-comparative, and this is the comparative. And another one is non-comparative. Non-comparative scale is a set of scaling method in which each item is scaled independent of each other. It measures single item at a time. For example, measurements of attitudes, reaction to TV commercial. It employ whatever rating standard seems appropriate to the respondent. It evaluate only one object of item at a time. Easy to construct and use. Automatically scored with computer. Disadvantages. Disadvantages means unreliable. Various techniques of non-comparative scales are visual, analog, and analogy scale, analog scale, and Likert scale, phrase completion scale, semantic differential scale, staple scale, the Thurston scale, mathematically derived scale, mathematically derived scale. These are the unreliable scale. Next, third one is Thurston equal appearing interval scale. Thurston equal appearing interval scale. It is it is prepared by Louis Leon Thurston in 1928 to is the scale to measure the religious attitudes. It measures the attitudes of peoples towards various aspects. It is used in psychological and sociological sociology. It is made with a statement about a particular issues. Each statement has numerical value indicate by favorable or, or unfavorable attitude. The mean score is computed indicating their attitudes. For example, I am inspired to meet my goal at work. A agree, B disagree. And disadvantages are it provides more precise and definite response of the issue in an item. It has clear neutral point on the scale which allows absolute interpretation of scores. Disadvantages time consuming, labor intensive. Now another one is Likert summative scales. Likert summative scale, it is 5-point rating scale to measure the attitude of people on 5 points. It is prepared by Likert in 1932. It is generally used in survey form. It measures how people feel about something. It consists of series of questions, and the respondent express their agreement of disagreement. It assumes that the distance between any two choices are equal. Likert scale is bipolar disorder related scale. It measures negative or positive response to a statement. In this Likert scales, examines the bipolar disorder related aspects also. In this bipolar scales, has in negative and positive, positive response to having the bipolar scale having the negative and positive the responses to a statement. This in this Likert scale is 5 points scale. The example set user friendly interface. One is strongly agree, doubtful, disagree, strongly disagree. These are all 5 point areas. That's why we call this test is 5 point scale. Me here, one statements are there. In this statement, 5 points are there, in which is you like. This is the one kind of person internal identify or examine the internal opinion, behavior, attitudes, emotions of the related concept. Thurston scale is 2 point scales, and they agree, disagree, and Likert means 5 point scale. And these Likert scales also advantages universally used for survey collection, easy to understand the response, easy to quantify, compute, and analyze. It does not force the participant to answer yes or no. Easy to code and accumulate data. Quick efficiency and in expensive method. It has highly versa, versa, versatility. Can be sent through mail, post, internet, off on hand. Disadvantages. It fails to measure the true attitude of the respondent. People answers will be influenced by previous questions. People avoid choosing extreme answers. And another one is Gutman cumulated scale. Gutman cumulated scale, Lewis Gutman has prepared this scale. It is a unidimensional measurement scale. It is a single ordinal scale designed to measure of one factor or of subject. In social sciences, it is used to measure increasing amount of attitude towards a topic. It measures how much of positive or negative attitude a person has towards a particular topic. For example, would you accept immigrant as resident in your country? Here, in this Gutman cumulated scale is known as yes or no questions. Here, one statements are there, and we will suppose we need to say that answer yes or no on topic related or situation related. Spontaneously we will say yes or no that no statement. In this Gutman cumulated scale, advantages are respondent can answer many questions in short amount of time. It is appealing to most people. It provides rank data, deterministic cumulative score determines the result. Only those questions which elicit answer are incorporated in the tool. Disadvantages. Respondent may feel overly committed to the questions. They answer as there is no in between answers. These are all the disadvantages. So here we will complete it in this second unit. In this second unit, another one is the important areas is summary. In this summary, also very important. In this summary, in this total syllabus unit wise, they are making concise concise the important mm, concept. Saying that is once again we will knowing about the summary. Psychophysics is the one of the pure branches of psychology. It studies the relationship between the stimulus, sensation, and perception. Relationship between the sensation and perception. The study, which study, what is the study? Psychophysics is the studies the relation between the sensation and perception. The sensation is the process of mind to receive information through various sensations such as eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. We see with our eyes, we hear with our ear, we smell with our nose, we state with our tongue, and we feel with our skin. The stimulus is an interesting and exciting quality that evokes a functional reactions in the organism or tissues of the organism due to an event of sensation. It is an exciting stage that causes a reaction. Psychophysics has widespread practical applications in human life. It has an immediate impact on psychology, sensory physiology, psychology, sensory physiology, and other related fields because it provides a means to measure sensation which was considered as immeasurable. Psychological method are tools to measure perceptions and performances. It is measurements of behavior to reveal the internal processes. Scaling techniques is a method of placing respondent on a continuum with pre-assigned values, numbers, symbols based on the features of the particular objects with predetermined rules. There are different types of scaling methods based on various criteria. In social sciences, scaling is the process of measuring or ordering entities with respect to quantitative attributes or traits. These are the summary of the psychophysics related topics. So now completed second unit also. In the second unit, another one is check your progress. Model answers are there, and model examinations questions are there, and one another one of the important glossary also is there. And third one is psychological assessment method. In this psychological assessment method also, it was covered few important areas of psychological assessment and psychological assessment methods. In that psychological assessment methods, one is observation method and interview method and the case study method. In these two areas, it was covered. So now we are going to introduction. Psychology deals with mental process and behavior, the way we behave, the way we interact in our environment, the way we perform various activities in our daily life are associated with our mental processes and behavior related to psychology. All human traits can be measured in psychology. Psychological testing is due to understanding human behavior, individual thoughts, personality, intelligence, aptitude, attitude, skills, desires, ambitions, creativity among the individual, which creates a better understanding of human behavior. In our daily life, psychology helps us to understand why the people act the way they do. It helps to understanding mind and body functioning. It improves decision making ability, stress management, time management, and adjustment in their life, effectively achieving their set life goals. Clinical psychologists cure mental diseases and promote positive personal development by evaluating preventing and relieving and the mentally ill people. These people assist the society to overcome their mental problems and lead quality life. Hence, knowledge of psychology is essential to understanding ourselves, others, and improve subject specific knowledge to improve our life skills, such as communicating ability, reasoning ability, critical thinking, and employability in present world. These are all the essential important area of the human individual behavior related concepts. Yes, in this same time another areas we will go to another areas. Psychological assessment, psychological testing is useful to measure in cognitive skills, a level of development, dexterity, reactions time, memory, etc. These psychological tests are standardized, reliable, valued objectives, practicable, and usable. Use a variety of mental ability, attributes, and neurological function. Psychological testing is known as psychological assessment or performing psychological battery. Definition: psychological assessment is a process of psychological testing to arrive at some hypothesis about person's behavior, capabilities, and personality traits. And psychological assessment methods are: one is observation, interview, case study, and non reference test. These are four. Observational methods. Observation as a psychological assessment method is the most used method of research in psychology. Observation is watching the people, their actions, gestures, behavior to assess them. It is watching what people do. Advantages of observation method: it is the best method of, to study the human behavior. It is the direct method for collecting the data. Data collected it accurate, and reliable. It improves the precision of result, less dependence on respondents, more insight is gained, entire situation can be studied, as, access to large group of participants, economical and flexible. And disadvantages: need trained observer, lack of clarity in the observer, little control over the situation, possibility of distortion, low reliability and validity, not possible to observe all types of behavior. Much behavior are not repeated. There are different types of observation is participant, non-participant, control observation. Um, natural, actually four types of in that observation. Observation is having the four types. One is natural observation, control observation, participant, and non-participant. And interview method. Interview method, it is the qualitative research techniques in which a person or small group of persons were asked questions to elicit data from the respondent about a particular topic, subject, program, idea, or situation. It is an interactive communication process in which the interviewer asks questions to the interview to elicit the response, elicit the response for the specific purpose on the selected topic. The verbal communication between two people is useful to get in depth information and experiences of the participant. The interview is the objective collection of information. Advantages of interview: we can obtain detailed information about feelings, perception, opinions. There is scope to ask detailed questions on the interview. It has high response rate, every correction of speech, good rapport between interviewer and interview. Emotion, yeah, economical time saving. There is scope to record respondent original talk. Provides flexibility to the interviewer. Illiterate people also can respond. It can judge non-verbal behavior of the respondent. And the disadvantage, it is expensive and time consuming. It may be biased, provide less anonymity. And here in this interview method also two types of two types of interview based on structure format. One is structure interview and unstructured interview. Now another one is case study. Case study had its origin from anthropology, sociology, and psychology. It is comes from the anthropology, sociology, and psychology. The case study method originated in the 20th century. It is recorded of various development event of a particular case or persons related to a situation over some time. It is a close, in-depth examination of a particular case to understand it thoroughly, to diagnose the problems and find out solutions for it. It is a method that uses various techniques like direct observation, personal interview, psychometric test, and actual records for in-depth analysis of a person, group, or phenomena for analysis and obtained data related to it. The case study method is used in exploratory and descriptive research to generate new ideas and illustrate theories. It is a narrative of real life situation. Case studies guide and give direction to the people. And an in-depth longitudinal examination of the case study provides a systematic way of looking into situation or event to collect the data, analyze and explore the result. In this also some of the case study characteristics are there. It focuses on a particular person, event, or situation, programs or phenomena. It is a narrative and descriptive. It illuminates readers' understanding of the phenomena under study. It extends readers' experiences, disorder new ideas, meanings. It confirm what is already known about the phenomena. It is scientific, reliable, and valid. It provides completely information about the individual physical, mental, social, emotional, and social characteristics. Types of case study. Historical case study. It studies the development of particular phenomena. Observational case study gather information through formal and informal observation. Illustrative case study studies what a situation is like. And exploratory sorry sorry exploratory case study identify the questions and investigate it. Cumulative case study collect aggregate information from different sites. Critical instant case study studies cause and effective relationship. The advantages, what are the steps of the case study also is there. The steps of selection, Selection of the topic for the case study, selection of the data collection procedure, selecting the participant, collection of data, data analysis, write up the write up of the case. And advantages. A case study is based on the real life situation. Case study records comprehensive information, flexible method. We can conceptualize the information, and the disadvantages are also is there. A disadvantage, what is the disadvantage? This method is in time consuming and expensive. We cannot generalize result, and this is more subjective method. This is the very important subjective method. It is not a objective method. Why? Because sometimes we are going to study uh, what we studied that concept or person or some things. Sometimes that person or concept interfering some variables. At that time, what we expect the result, it's not come properly. That's why we call case study method is subjective. It's not come to result and subjective way, subjective way. And another one is fourth one is referred psychological test. Non-referred test refers to the standardized test are designed to rank and compare test takers in relation to one another. These tests compare the performance of the students of the same age, same level, and same grade who have taken the test at a time. The process of norm referencing is also known as norming process, and the groups which were compared through the norming process is known as norming group. These results were generally reported as the percentages or percentile norm. These are all the um, um, methods of psychological methods. Psychological method assessment methods are four methods. One is um, observational method, and interview method, and case study method, and normative method. And the another important one is summary. The summary psychological testing is done to understand human behavior, individual thoughts, personality, intelligence, aptitude, attitude, skills, desires, ambitions, creativity among the individual, which creates a better understanding of human behavior. Psychological testing is useful to measure the cognitive skills, level of development, dexterity, reaction time, memory, etc. These psychological tests are standardized, reliable, and valued objects, practicable, and usable. Psychological testing is testing psychological aspects using questionnaires and checklists, whereas psychological assessment includes various components of psychological tests such as norm, reference test, informal test, survey, interview information, school or medical records, medical evaluation, observation of data, etc. These are all the summary about the third unit of psychological assessment methods. Now, next class, we are going to psychological test, fourth unit. So, students, and so far we are completed three unit from the previous class. today classes completed two classes and now fourth unit we will discuss next classes. Okay, thank you very much to everyone. In this video classes, everyone has to utilize the utilize this is a very opportunity, best opportunity. Those who are in third year, sixth semester um, psychology student. Thank you very much to one and all, everyone.